Hey guys, welcome to OJ RoboMaster videos. So today we'll be talking about radar, and to warn you, this is just part 1 and part 2 we will see how to make one, but in part 1, this is this video, you're going to only see about the basics of radar. I wanted you to know about this basics of radar because before you make one, you should know what you're going to make and you're going to know the principle and everything. So in part 2 we'll make the radar. So in this part 1 I like to tell you what is a radar. We'll talk all the basics of radar. We'll see first agenda. There itself you'll understand what I'm going to talk about. Then we will also you'll also see, feel very interesting PPT it is, because I have added a lot of pics and everything. Now if you are thinking, is this PPT there in the description below? Yes, it is. If you click on that link, you will be taken to Google Drive where you'll open by Google Slides. So if you click on download button, automatically it will come to your desktop. If you click there, by opening through PPT, you can open it. So I'll give explanation for it. Okay, so now let's start. Please please subscribe to my channel also, and see this complete video so that you don't miss any point. Okay, so let's get started. First we will see today's agenda. First we'll see the basics of radar system, then we'll see the working of the radar system, then we'll see the advantage of radar system, then we'll see the limitations of radar system, and lastly we will see the applications of radar system. So before this thing pops up, let's go. Okay, so basics of radar system. Radar full form is radio detection and ranging. R for radio, that A between R and D, that stands for nothing. The D stands for detection, and the last R stands for ranging. Radar is an object detection system. So it is an object detecting system. It uses radio waves. So we get to see here the radio waves to determine the position, range, angle, distance, and velocity. It can be used to detect aircrafts, ships, spacecrafts, guided missiles, motor vehicles, weather formations, and terrain. Radar was first secretly developed for military purposes only, and then it was also used by several nations in period before World War II. Now let's see some pictures. This is aircraft, spacecraft, motor vehicles, weather formations, and guided missiles. This is the army people, they use for like surveillance purposes and military purposes. Okay, now working of the radar system, one of the very interesting topic. First, let's take a radar system with a big antenna. We can call that antenna as the TX and RX antenna. T stands for transmitting and R stands for receiving. Then we can take a target. The target here is a missile. Okay. Then we are going to send a wave to the target, and this is going to be a transmitting wave. As you already know, when you going to on a torchlight onto a mirror, it reflects. Same thing is going to happen here, but instead of the light, it is a wave. So it's a radio wave, and we can call this wave as transmitting wave. Once it hits the surface, it goes back to the radar system, and that we can call as echo signal. Now with this we can determine the range and distance. We can determine the angle. We can determine the velocity and the position of the target. Okay, now we will see the advantages of a radar system. Radar can see through darkness, haze, fog, rain and snow. I'll repeat, radar can see through darkness, haze, fog, rain and snow. Okay, so it doesn't need light to detect the object. Instead, it can find out the object without any light. That's a specialty of a radar. Now, one more advantage is radar can determine the position, range, angle, and the velocity of an object. So as I already said. Okay. But if you're thinking, one thing here is that the velocity is the speed, okay? Angle is where it is present, position and range and distance. Limitations of radar system. Radars cannot resolve in details like the human eye, especially at short distances. Radar cannot recognize the color of the target, and radar cannot identify the internal aspects of the target. Let us go into detail for that. Radar cannot resolve in details like the human eye, especially at short distances. How we are perceiving the objects, the radar cannot. So, across for that. A radar cannot recognize the color of the target. So, how our human eye perceives the color of the object, the radar cannot perceive that. And radar possibly cannot identify the internal aspects of the target. It means it cannot do X-ray vision as how we are doing, right? How the doctors are taking X-ray of our body, it cannot do that. So cross for that too. Now, always we have applications, right? So applications or radar system. First, we'll see the civilian applications. It acts as a navigational aid on ground and sea, that is an eye on ground and sea, our eyes. Okay, like that. Radar altimeters are used for determining the height of plane above the ground. So, like attitudinal height, later right. Airborne surveillance for satellite purposes. So, an eye in the sky for satellite purposes like Google Maps, Google Images, and everything, we use the radar. A radar, police radars are used for detecting and directing speeding vehicles. You already know that there's a different type of like instrument used for detecting and finding out the speed of the vehicles. But a radar can do that and even find where the object is moving, where that particular vehicle is moving. That's the specialty of a radar. Next, we will see this military applications. Oh, sorry. Let's see some pics. So this is a navigational aid on sea and ground. This is altitudinal height between the ground and the land. This is the airborne surveillances, and this is the police radar. Okay, military applications: detecting and ranging of enemy targets, aiming guns at aircraft and ships. This and this both are interconnected. That is, for example, you can locate a point. You can connect a radar and a bombing system together. Locate a point at the radar, and then when you execute the plan, the missile goes straight at the place where the location is being imprinted on the radar. Detecting missiles, and lastly, early warning of approaching aircrafts and ships. Okay, let's see a fix. The guiding missiles, we can detect missiles, bombing cities, aiming guns, and this is early warning. The ships, that's early warning, and that aiming guns. Okay, now we all know that we are going to make a radar, but we cannot use or possibly use such a thing where we have to use something so costly as radio waves, antenna, radio system. Instead, we are going to use this ultrasonic sensor. So let me just explain how it's going to work. Let me get out my highlight. So first, it's going to let's draw an object. Okay, and let me take it. It's going to send out some waves, and then it's going to hit the surface of this object, and it's going to go back to the receiver side. So how to know which is transmitter and receiver? We see here this T stands for transmitter, R stands for receiver. So we have two eyes. This is transmitter and this is the receiver. Okay. So after this, when we detect the object, what wave we are going to ask? It's supersonic. I mean ultrasonic waves. So we're going to use ultrasonic waves for this. So I hope you like this PPT. If you like this PPT and my explanation, please give a like, share this video, and I have left the link for the PPT. Thank you and have a great, awesome day.